Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Opposition leader Philip J. Pierre says he will be taking no advice from officials of the current UWP administration on how to run his party. Speaking on criticisms that there was no proper reason behind the recently held national protests, Pierre says the UWP needs to mind its business and not bother itself with what the Labour Party is doing. He says the party will continue to do what it sees fit for the country as long as they are well within their legal and constitutional rights.
While the St. Lucia Labour Party is very pleased with its national protest rally and the number of people it was able to pull within 2 days of the announcement, others are not impressed. Leader of the opposition, Philip J. Pierre, has fired back at critics from the United Workers' Party who say that the SLP's national protest was much ado about nothing.
Anybody in government should not be concerned about the job of the opposition. In fact, what they should be happy if the opposition makes mistakes. I will take any advice from the government on how I can conduct my party. I'll be very worried about it. Why must I get advice from the government on how to run the opposition? The worse the opposition does, the better for the government. The government is scared, and the government will not tell us what action to take. So any advice from the government is not warranted, is not accepted, and we think they should mind their own business and allow us to do what is within our constitutional and legal rights to do.
Pierre responded to comments by the deputy chair of the UWP, Nancy Charles, who took the opposition to task for its many walkouts or boycotts of parliamentary sessions. Pierre says the party has made it clear that it will not be involved in discussions or voting on any matter that is seen as a joke or something being forced upon citizens.
We said to the government that it doesn't make any sense to discuss the COVID bill in the parliament because major stakeholders had found issues with that bill, major stakeholders, and we could not be part of a joke because we knew, because you must understand, earlier in the day, the government had sought to move the bill from one party or other people to the other, and all of them voted aye. We knew they would have voted aye. So it wasn't making any sense to put our stamp on something that we thought was, one, wrong, two, unconstitutional. And if you saw what happened, the government forced their way through by appointing 2 temporary senators to pass the bill where there was no need for it.
The leader of the opposition calls on UWP officials to tend to the issues within their own party and leave the running of the SLP to its capable executive.
The election date for St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been set. Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves made the announcement at a public meeting as he pointed to biblical scripture and spoke of the prophetic timing of the November election.
He promised that it would be a special public meeting of the Unity Labour Party, and it was, because Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Rav Gonsalves, rang the election bell on Thursday night. Vincentians will go to the polls on Thursday, the 5th of November, 2020.
General elections will be held on Thursday, November the 5th, 2020. Upon my advice, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, Governor General, is dissolving Parliament tomorrow, Friday, October the 9th. Nomination day will be on October the 20th, 2020. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Chief Medical Officer and other health professionals have been discussing election day protocols with the Supervisor of Elections. I am sure that the National Monitoring and Consultative Mechanism and the representatives of the respective political parties will be consulted prior to the finalization of these important protocols.
Election fever amid a global pandemic could be a recipe for disaster, but Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves assures that there will be a clean campaign with principles of a fair democracy being upheld. Therefore, he expects a smooth process, one in stark contrast to some of the chaotic pre-election scenes that played out in other countries of the region, like Dominica.
I expect that these general elections will be held in a peaceful environment. The Supervisor of Elections and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security have assured me that all practical matters requisite for the holding of free and fair elections in accordance with law are in place. The Unity Labour Party promises a clean, informative and uplifting campaign. I am now ready to rumble.
In a deeply philosophical outpouring, Dr. Gonsalves indicated that the date of the election has significant biblical importance.
I have sought confirmation on the latter date, the date for the general elections, with the prayerful plea, "Speak, Lord, your servant Ralph is listening." I report tonight to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I have received such a confirmation. In several speeches, I have quoted Deuteronomy, the 5th book of the Bible, 5 in a row. I quoted Moses, God's anointed prophet and liberator of the Hebrew people, in chapter 11, verse 5. The 11th chapter of Deuteronomy represents for me in our circumstances the 11th month of the year, November. The 5th verse is the 5th day. General elections will be held on Thursday, November the 5th, 2020.
The leader of the opposition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Goodwin Friday, was also hosting a virtual meeting Thursday night and celebrated the announcement of the November 5th election, saying that the choice in the election is stark and clear. According to him, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity for change and for a better tomorrow in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He called it a new beginning with a plan going forward for jobs and growth and a better future under the new Democratic Party.
Now, regional pollster and political commentator Peter Wickham is weighing in on the election announcement by St. Vincent's Prime Minister Rav Gonsalves. He says the fact that Dr. Rav Gonsalves would call the election amid the COVID-19 pandemic is not surprising, given that the COVID effect has favored incumbent governments in the region. Prime Minister Gonsalves has traditionally opted for December elections, but has brought the date forward to early November. Wickham says he must see some strategic advantage to that move, but whether it pays off for the Prime Minister is left to be seen. The Barbados-based pollster says one thing that Prime Minister Gonsalves certainly has going for him is that he remains a popular regional leader.
As to whether the outcome will be in his favor or not, well, I mean, there are issues on both sides that we can consider. Prime Minister Gonsalves won the last two elections. His current popularity eclipses that of the opposition leader, Mr. Friday. And one could argue that those are the things he has going for him. In addition to that, he holds a one-seat majority, but certainly the seats that he holds by a relatively decent margin, and one assumes that he wouldn't be losing those. On the other side, however, there's some other factors. He's a fifth-term government. This is unprecedented in the Caribbean. So you'll be having one leader running 5 times, and I think that will be a significant journey that he would want to take. And the question as to whether or not that will be successful.
The opposition party is being led by newcomer Goodwin Friday. Wickham predicts that whoever wins will do so by a narrow margin.
Of course, the voter turnout in St. Vincent, one assumes it will be reduced in the same way it was reduced in all of the other islands. And the question is whether that reduction would impact more heavily on the opposition, as was the case in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis before, or alternatively, would it impact more heavily on the government. as was the case in the sole example would be Trinidad and Tobago, where it went in the other direction. So I think those would be the factors that we are considering. We have to wait and see until the election night to understand how it will go. But one assumes that this will not be an election in which there will be a huge swing one way or the other.
St. Vincent has now joined the growing list of countries in the region calling elections during this COVID-19 period. Here in St. Lucia, many believe that an election announcement is imminent. Wickham himself has said that Prime Minister Alan Chastanet would be wise to call an election sooner rather than later, as the odds are in his favor. During the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers were put to the test, having to conduct online classes, ensuring that less fortunate students were not left out, all while trying to adjust to COVID-19 within their own personal lives. So we are sending them some love. This Teachers Appreciation Week, some little ones gave us several reasons why they love and appreciate their teachers.
Teachers plant the seed of knowledge that will grow forever. This Teachers Appreciation Week, we visited primary schools in order to allow students the opportunity to express how much they appreciate their teachers.
I want to appreciate my teacher because she always gives us a fun activity to explain the work. She always provides work. She always helps us. So that's why I want to appreciate my teacher.
I'm appreciative of my teacher because when we think we have a lot of notes to write, they have to write it on multiple boards. So I really appreciate the work they provide for us and stuff like that.
I appreciate my teacher because all the things I do is because of her. She teaches us every day. She's like a mother to us. She's like our best friend. She teaches us, we get stronger and stronger every day. The more knowledge we get, she teaches us. And when we get older, remember things we do that we remind us of. We love our teacher very much.
I appreciate my teacher because she tries very hard to make us learn, and she tries very hard to make us understand, and she tries a lot to get us to do the work, and she loves us, and she gets us to do the work because she knows it's good for us. This is why I appreciate my teacher.
I love my teacher because whenever I need to, like when I don't understand work, she'll help me. And if I don't have nothing to eat, she'll give me money or she'll give me something from her stuff.
I love my teacher because I think she puts a lot of time and effort into giving us work and to make sure that we get everything right and everything we understand it. She doesn't like to leave anybody out. She loves to get everybody's attention. Everybody has to know, and she wants everybody to learn. So that's why I love my teacher, and I appreciate her so much for everything she has done for all my classmates.
I like my teachers because they show a lot of appreciation for the children, the kids. They do a lot of things for the kids. They never want to leave anybody out. They really love the children.
I love my teacher because she spends a lot of time with me, and it's just good to talk to her and tell her your worries and everything that's troubling you. And she's always there for you. She teaches you new things every day, and it's just happy to learn new things with her.
The thing I love about my teacher is she gives us light stuff to do. And what I love about school is because my teacher gives us new things every day. It's fun.
I love my teacher because she does everything that is possible for us, and she always makes sure that we do our work so that we can get an education.
Happy Teachers Appreciation Day.
A teacher takes a hand, opens a mind, and touches a heart. Happy Teachers Appreciation Week to all the heroes out here without capes. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more coming up after the break.